Okay, hello everybody. This is Michael reviewing the GAC Aion UT mobility gadgets. And the reason why I don't call these cars EVs is they're basically just mobility gadgets with a large power bank and a motor and wheels and a lot of tech. Now, initially, I got this to replace my 2021 Navara Pro 4X, which I paid around 1.746 million 5 years ago, and I just sold it at a loss for a little bit, close to 800,000 pesos last week, even though it's still worth close to a million. Now, why did I sell it? Because it was killing me in terms of the petrol costs. I own like 5 or 6 coffee shops in Pangasinan and Zambales, in which I do deliveries almost 3 times a week. So I'm driving around 8,000 kilometers per week, per month. I've had this car for about 40 days. I've put in around 10,300 kilometers on it already. So that's about 100 liters of gas. And if you look at the price of diesel hovering around 85, that would have cost me 85,000 pesos just to do all my deliveries in a little bit more than a month. With this GAC all-electric mobility gadgets, it's only cost me around 10,000 pesos to run. So it saved me around good 70,000. So I bought this car for about a million. So if I have the same driving habits and distances for the next year and a half, the car should pay for itself with the amount of gas that I'm saving versus using electricity at Zameco Panelco rates at around 12 to 13 kilowatts per hour. So it makes sense to get this mobility gadget that you just plug in to charge. And I don't really have any range anxiety because in all my coffee shops I put all these level 2 third party 7.7 kilowatt hour charging with a grounding rod, so that they actually work and you won't get that error code. So I have charging stations in Bulinao where I stay. On the weekends, I have a BYD charging 7.7 in Alaminos, Pangasinan, because my wife has a BYD C-Line 7. I have a charging station also in Iba, Zambales, which is about 120 kilometers away from Alaminos. And the range of this vehicle is around 400, but you can actually get more if you just put it on super power save, which is the 4th level of driving power it has. It has sport mode. It also has a comfort mode. It has a power save mode, and it has a super power save mode, which uses a lot of regenerative braking. So I've been able to get about 420 kilometers per charge, just driving normally 60 to 70 kilometers per hour on these provincial roads. Except I do put it on sport mode occasionally when sometimes I get the urge to race these big SUVs and trucks, like the Raptors and the Hiluxes, the Monteros off the line when I'm in the city proper. So anyway, I looked at several EVs, to tell you the truth, before I chose this one. Initially looked at the BYD Seagull because my wife got a C-Line back in January. So by the time the war started in Iran with Israel and US bombing and the choking of the Straits of Hormuz, which catapulted gas prices to in the Philippines to these astronomical, unaffordable rates, I was already looking at a BYD Seagull, but the waiting list. Oh my God, they said it was June or July. So anyway, I put a 5,000 peso deposit, hoping I could get a BYD by May or June. That same day, I brought my wife to test drive a VinFast VF3 in Ordaneta, Pangasinan. The BYD actually was purchased in Calasiao, Pangasinan, and the BYD Seagull was actually okay. The one that they had, the unit that was you were able to test drive. It had 79 horsepower, some torque, and it was nice because it was designed kind of like the Lamborghini, and the same designer that designed, I believe, the Porsche engineer that they hired, BYD engineered Wolfgang somebody. Um, anyway, we test drove the VinFast too. VinFast is a relatively newcomer from Vietnam, using a lot of Chinese parts. They assemble most of the stuff in Vietnam. The VinFast kind of following the Hyundai route of vehicle development, along with Malaysia Proton and Malaysian Peradua. And it's their low entry car, which they introduced about 2 or 3 years ago. I think it came into the Philippines 2024. Anyway, the VinFast, it's really, really nice looking styled car. It's basically what you would get if you had a FJ Cruiser and a Suzuki Jimny have a progeny or a kid. It's kind of boxy, high off the ground, perfect for the flooding and the pothole-ridden roads in the Philippines. So it's actually nice. So they gave us a unit to test drive, and the thing is, you could actually pay it on a credit card because if you have a good BPI black card that has a 1 million peso limit, you can actually put the entire car on the credit card. And if they did have that option where the vehicle was available that day, I probably would have picked up one. But after test driving it, I wasn't quite sure. I decided to lean back towards the BYD. Now, my problem with BYD is threefold. One was, man, the power. 49 horsepower is just way too slow, especially after driving the BYD and after driving ICE cars that had turbo. It's just very, very slow. I mean, it's peppy as you can get in the city, but once you stretch out your legs around 70, I mean, the 0 to 60 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, I believe is like 19 seconds. So that was just, oh my goodness, it was really, really slow. My wife told me to step on the gas, and I said, my foot's already on the floor, and she was laughing. Then the second complaint I had was it was bumpy ride because of the short wheelbase. Even though it had a high profile, it was still relatively bumpy. So I noticed that right away, that if I were to drive it for my delivery runs that lasted over 3 hours, my back would definitely kill me. So it's good for those short errands. It's really a city car. And then the third was the range. I'm doing Alaminos to Bulinao and to Iba Zambales. So back and forth, I would need to charge it. I won't be able to go back and forth without charging it. Whereas with my GAC Aion at 400 plus kilometer range, I can actually go from Zambales to Alaminos and back, even to Bulinao and back with no problem. Whereas with the VinFast, I definitely would have to charge before I headed back. So those are the three things I considered. Other negatives that I didn't like, the tinny stereo. The tires were fine because it's an EV, so you want the 175 tires. I don't see the reason why you would need bigger tires for handling when the horsepower of the car is only 49 horsepower. That's plenty of grip to be able to drive the car. Any type of tire wheel modification is just foolishness, and it's just to try to look good for the car, but in terms of handling, I think there's plenty for the 175 series tires. My mechanic in the U.S. when I used to drive Alfa Romeos, and I used to do all these engine exhaust intake modifications, used to tell me, I said, Mike, you want to learn how to make your car go faster? And I said, yeah, Glenn. He was a Ferrari Alfa Romeo mechanic. He said, learn how to drive. I said, go to Sears Point racetrack and take some driving lessons, learn how to drive around the track, and that's how you make your car go faster. So basically, you don't need anything on the VinFast at 49 horsepower. Just learn how to drive, and you can take the car to its limit with its 175 series tires. Anything beyond that, you're just gonna lessen the kilometer range of the VinFast because the range is only 200, and I've seen people get only 170 kilometers out of it. So just keep it with the skinny tires, and you'll be fine. But the radio, the sound, oh my goodness! We're at the GAC unit. Oh my God, the radio is really nice. And what I like about it is that you can put the volume all the way up, and it's at that limit where it doesn't ruin the speakers. Because like with my Navara, you can actually increase the volume on the truck, and then you could also increase the volume on your cell phone to the point where you'll actually damage the speakers. Whereas with the GAC, the limiter is actually on the head unit, so it's just to the point where the sound becomes uncomfortably loud, and it's just at the right limit where it doesn't ruin the speakers. That's what's nice about it. And it's a 6-speaker sound system, really nice, and there's no need to modify anything about the GAC Aion UT. Whereas with the VinFast, my goodness, I see a lot of people doing a lot of modifications with the front, with the wheels, the tires, with increasing cargo space, putting roof racks, changing the mirrors. By the time you do all the modifications, you're basically at a Joy car, which has 160 horsepower, twice the range of a VinFast, and it's a mid-size SUV range already. So I always suggest owning the VinFast non-modified. Don't spend any more money because if you end up spending 200,000 or 300,000 pesos more, you might as well get the GAC Aion UT or the BYD Seagull, which is almost twice as fast, or get the Geely X2, which has 114 horsepower. This GAC Aion UT has 134 horsepower, which is plenty actually. I guess 0 to 100 in about 10 seconds, 10 or 11 seconds, which actually beats my Navara Pro 4X off the line. So because you have that instant torque. What I like about the GAC, my favorite part of it is that it's very roomy. So you can actually lay all these seats forward, swing it forward, and then put the recliner back, and it's basically like a bed. They actually sell these inflatable beds, so you can get something from GAC dealership, not the ones in the Philippines, but you can probably order it in Thailand. And you put this matting on it, and it's basically a full-size bed in your cabin. You can sleep. So I've been doing that. Whenever I'm doing these long drives late at night, I'll just pull over and just put the seat all the way down and have a nice nap. Doesn't come with a massager, so I was thinking getting one of those little 12-volt massagers that you hook up to your car seat for around 2,000 pesos, and get a good massage. It has fabric. Has this fabric chairs, right? The seats, okay, which is nice. It's kind of low budget. I would have preferred maybe the pleather or the leatherette type, but actually it's kind of nice. You just have to be careful when you spill your coffee, and since I own cafes, I already spilled coffee on it. Luckily, it's dark color. Um, there's a lot of hard plastics. You can see the sound. Lots of hard plastic in this car. Okay, and this one's kind of hollow. The top part of here, the paneling on top, the headliner. So when it's raining hard, you can actually hear everything. But the other thing I like about it is it's got a lot of tech. See the front panel here? Right? You have all the ADAS too. You have a rear collision, rear cross, blind spot, door opening warning, lane departure, emergency lane keeping, safe speed warning, cruise control, integrated cruise control, parking rear sound, radar sound, and forward collision. So it's got a lot of tech. And then you can see here, that's the, there's also if you want to do the Android Auto, there you go, right? Okay, you want to start the Android Auto, there you go. It's for the maps, right? Then it has the switch control there. You can lock your windows, lock your cars. There's also an app that comes with this, so you can actually start the car while you're away. Lighting system, right? Headlights. You can raise the headlights up and down. It has a fog lamp, which I'll turn on in the back because it's kind of overcast right now. Reading lamps on and off. You have the smart cabin. You can adjust the mirrors. Driver assistance, of course, I just showed you. Energy consumption, you have the sport, comfort, power save, super power save. And then if you get too sick from that regenerative braking, just hit the motion sickness relief. Okay, and then you could also control the energy recovery from weak to medium to closing it, meaning that you just let the car coast instead of doing all that regenerative braking. Chassis power, you have towing modes, comfortable parking, reverse pedal, misoperation, prevention, yeah, body accessories. Then you have all these locks, whatever, auto lock for parking. When you leave the car, it just locks itself, and then when you approach the car, as long as the fob is with you, it automatically unlocks. And then you have auto wipers, yeah. You can control the sensitivity. Then you have the system settings, where you have the basic settings, the displays, the voice command, sound system, right? So here the sound, you can actually control here too what kind of sound you want. You want natural sound, vocal enhancer, or mega boost. And then you could also put where you want the speakers to sound. If you want it to be the drivers only, good. If you want it to be the passenger, if you have kids, just give it to them, especially if you hate their music, or you can just put it back in the center. Okay, so this is all what I'm driving. It takes a while to get used to because it's very tech heavy, right? But you get used to it after about 3 days. The only thing I don't like about this dang thing is to drive it, right? You have to hit that stalk right here, right? That's the stalk to hit the drive, which is kind of a pain in the ass, if you ask me. Okay, that's to hit the drive. You reverse. You have to do it on that instead of having it near the cup holders on the center console like the BYDs. That's more kind of intuitive. So this is kind of a pain in the ass. That's really like the wipers. So when I first started, I kept hitting this, thinking this was the wiper, and then it keeps going to cruise control. Luckily, it has a lot of these built-in features that if you hit the reverse by accident, nothing happens. If you hit the button there thinking it's the windshield wiper water sprayer, it's not it. Doesn't go into park while you're moving. It has all these dump proofing so that you don't act, nothing happens if you accidentally hit that button. The wipers is on the left side along with your signals, so it's kind of opposite for the wipers. It should be on the right side in normal cars. But yeah, it's an okay car. I mean, it's fast. It's really quiet. It's really quiet. The tires, they're this Chaoyang ultra ride quiet tires, which are very cheap. So they're really good. Really, I highly recommend it. Super quiet. Uh, Also, if you want to control the air conditioning, you just press this thing here. See, there you go. You control the fan speed, which I'll turn it down. The temperature is right here. You can control here, up and down. Okay. I don't think it's dual climate. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. Yeah. But anyway, that's that. So everything is on that tablet, a touchscreen for your controls. This takes a while getting used to. Some people don't like it, but if you're used to any tech gadgets, just a learning curve of maybe 1 to 2 days. By necessity, you kind of just have to figure it out, right? So it doesn't take that long, right? I'm freaking 62 years old, right? I'm a freaking senior citizen, and it took me about a day to figure out, except for the wipers. Got caught in a rainy day. Well, we brought it out of Calasiao, Pangasinan, and our first day, and we couldn't find the damn wipers. We were thinking it was on the right side, and we had to look it up on Gemini or ChatGPT where the wiper was. Actually, I had to pull over until we figured it out. But anyway, it's nice. It has a lot of these cool features. There are these little rotary knobs or balls that are on each side of the steering wheel. One controls the speed for the cruise control, the other one's for the volume for the stereo. And if you click right, click left, it just goes on to the next song or goes back to the previous song. And it also has all these other heads-up display, whether you want to know about your mileage, how much kilometers you've been driving, how many kilometers per liter, basically, or per kilowatt hour you've been using, etc. So then, yeah, it's nice. What else do I like about it? It's roomy. I'm using it as my pickup truck. So to replace my Navara, so I'm able to load 7 cases of fries, 10 cases, about 10 cases of milk, so about maybe 100 to 150 liters of milk and 120 kilograms of fries, a bunch of other things, cheesecakes, which I bring from Alaminos or any of my delivery points from my suppliers back to Zambales. So it's quite roomy. The only thing I don't really like probably is the what do you call that, this driver assistance feature that's forward collision mitigation assist. Sometimes there's a person crossing in front of you that's already crossed, and then it'll suddenly brake, and it'll just shake you up. And I'm like, what happened there? I don't even know what happened because the person already crossed. It's kind of sensitive. Even this guy that was walking on the side of me, just because he got near the car suddenly jerked, slowed down. And I'm like, not really used to that. Also, the lane departure sensor. The steering wheel will try to bring you back to the middle, even though you really want to go on the left side to do a passing move. So that part, I normally just try to deactivate that lane departure warning. I just want the beeping sound, but not the mechanical part where it tries to bring the car back to the lane. I think if you're considering these cars, sub 1 million, I think GAC is good. For a little bit more horsepower than the Joy is good, although it doesn't have audio CarPlay and Apple CarPlay. But I mean, you can just use a toggle for that. But the good thing about that one is 160 horsepower. But it is a little bit bigger and heavier, so it's about the same acceleration as actually this GAC Aion UT. The other one is an MG EV that's about, I think, 1.15 also. That's also good for around that price range. And then the Geely EX2, it's nice, I think 14 horsepower. It's fast too. Actually, it's pretty quick. It's just a little small for me. It doesn't have that foldable chair that goes all the way back to make it into a bed. So that was kind of the deal breaker for me. But it is a very modern car. And then of course Geely has that global platform, and they're one of the better companies along with BYD. That's in the top two for making really nice cars, right? So you can. I would, for me, if I were to rank them sub 1 million, I would go for the GAC Aion because they had a special actually for the first 400 buyers when they came out in July. So you can get it for $968, and then you have to pay, of course, the insurance, blah blah blah. So registration. So you brought it a little bit over 1 million, but it still was sub 1 million, true sub 1 million. The Geely EX2, okay, but then you had the Pro variant and the Premium. The Pro variant didn't have a lot of stuff, right? And then they didn't have the Premium variant yet at the dealership when I was buying this GAC. They only had the Pro variant. It didn't have the ADAS and all these other features, so I kind of nixed the Geely X2. But even if they had the Premium, that would have taken it over 1 million. So for the same features, I think you're better off with the GAC Aion UT. And then the Seagull, also very nice. I would rank that as my number third one. And then the VinFast would be the fourth choice. And the fifth choice would be probably the Best Tuned Pony. Okay. Although that's a more micro car, although it's freeway legal and everything, it just has a very low, it stands very low, so I think only 140 millimeters above the ground, ground clearance. So if you're dealing with flood prone areas, that might not be too advisable, but it's a pretty good city car. And that one's around 488,000 if you pay cash, 588 if you pay in installments. Yeah, so the ranking is GAC Aion UT, the Geely X2, BYD Seagull, the VinFast VF3, and the Best Tuned Pony. If you were to spend a little bit more than $1 million, then I would go probably for the MG or the Joy. So I think the Joy would probably have more room, but the MG would probably be more fun to drive. Now somebody talked about the body roll of the GAC Aion UT. I would say learn how to drive faster. That's all I could say, right? I mean, this I don't know what kind of tires there are here, but if you know how to use the regenerative braking, you could actually take this car to its limit, right? And it handles a lot better than a lot of sports cars that were built 20, 30 years ago. So I wish there was a little bit more bolstering though on the seats, but I think the car really handles well. Just the right amount of torque and speed to be able to go around turns, past cars, and the thing is not bumpy because it has the longest wheelbase of all these sub 1 million cars. So it's a little bit longer than the Geely EX2. So that's what's nice about it. The shape of it, design, it looks like a croissant. It looks like a loaf of bread, if you ask me, which is fine because I mean, VinFast looks like a can of Spam. The Geely looks like a miniature loaf of bread. This is a bigger loaf of bread. Only the Seagull actually is really well designed. You know, the front fascia of it looks like a Lamborghini, and you could tell that it was designed by somebody who had designed those nice cars in Europe. I believe the engineer or designer was German. So definitely, in terms of design, I would say the um, BYD Seagull takes the cake for that one. The VinFast second running for style for sure because it has that boxy uh, stance that looks like a miniature Land Rover or Range Rover, whatever. And it also has those big old tires and a high ground clearance, so it's perfect for Philippine roads. Actually, I'm not knocking down VinFast. VinFast is okay because, especially if you do the battery subscription at, I believe it's $549 now. Then you just pay the 1/6 a month, and then the VinFast will buy your battery back if you want. If you know want to give it back, and they also have if you decide after 1 year you want to give it back to them, then you only lose 10% of the resale value. So VinFast stands behind its products, although the company's never made money yet. Okay? Uh, and I'm not sure how long they will last in the market because I'm not sure they'll be able to compete against the Chinese companies, but they'll exist in Vietnam for sure, like Proton and Peradua. They'll be able to carve a niche on their own, but whether they're profitable or they'll eventually end up doing a merger like or partnership with a Chinese company like what Proton did recently with the Geely Group. So the Malaysian Proton EMAS actually is just a collaboration, 49% stake by Geely in the Proton Automotive Group. Yeah, in the Philippines, they're starting one right now. I think Marcos is giving some subsidies or some EV credits up to 200,000 for every vehicle that's produced in the Philippines, and I think maybe they should help out Francisco Motors, um, who's actually trying to come up with an EV. I think they're a little bit overpriced. Trying to go the Tesla and the BYD route, they should stick to the VinFast model first, or the Best Tuned Pony, or the Aura, those little Volkswagen type with those big eyes cars. They should stick with micro cars first. They should try to develop a car that's under $500,000 for what they call the masa, for the majority of Filipino families that can actually afford a sub 500 peso car. They just have to fix the bank financing laws in this country. So these kind of car loans for the first time Filipino family buyer will be at 9 years, zero down, and capped at 5%. And you'll see the payments will be down to around 5,000 or 6,000 a month, which every Filipino family with multiple family household workers will be able to afford finally, and be inside a nice car with air conditioning, don't have to brave the elements in the heat or the rain. So I think it's more of the dignified approach to get mobility gadgets into the hands of Filipinos. And that's the trend anyway. That's the trend. It will happen within 10 years because these mobility gadgets, just like smartphones and flat screen TVs, will get cheaper and cheaper by the year. Just like when Teslas first came out a decade ago, they were like 5 million or so, and only the wealthy people could afford them. But look at Tesla now. You can get Teslas for 1.7, 2 million. Then you have EVs now for around 300,000 for the Best in Pony in China, right? And then there's all these other micro mobility gadgets that are around 150 to 200,000 already, even in Metro Manila. That's just for going around the city, not in the freeways, of course, but 100-kilometer range, top speed 50 or 60. does the job, you know. So those are already available. So what will it take? My car actually would, in 5 years, this million peso car will probably be down to 600 to 500,000 for three reasons. One is in maybe next year or the following year, most of the batteries that will be coming out of China by either BYD or CATL will be the sodium batteries, because salt or sodium costs 20 to 30% more, less than the lithium phosphate batteries. Okay. Salt is readily abundant along with potassium ash, so it should be a lot cheaper, 20 to 30% cheaper. And then second is that most of these cars will be not welded or riveted or glued. It'll be mainly gigacast. This is what Tesla is using now, which is Toyota, Volvo, all these other car companies are adopting it. So you just have this monoblock cast for all these chassis or body parts, so you don't actually need to have all these labor-intensive welding done by robots. So that should bring the cost another 15-20%. And then you have the mass production, mass scaling, more people buying them, just economy of scale. My car, I would predict in 5 years will only be about 500,000. Of course, the limiting costs, the battery prices will definitely go down, but the metal, aluminum, whatever, steel, that won't go down because you still need to have some kind of rigidity to the structure. But in terms of the other tech features, they can bring down the prices of the radars, the lidars, the cameras, of course, the brakes, the tablets or the software, right? Maybe use even cheaper plastics on the interior, maybe some kind of different polymer plastic, cheaper seat covers or whatever. I mean, they can always use cheaper materials, right? Maybe something, maybe just 2 airbags, passenger and driver. I'm not sure, but they can actually bring this million peso car half. And if the Philippine government does not give it any VAT and no custom duties, okay, and just right off the bat, 20% is added by the dealer. So if you eliminate dealerships and people are just allowed to buy this online, right, like Tesla cars, right, if you can just buy it online on the website of the company and they just have a big warehouse and it's LTO ready, there's no need for dealerships. You just directly buy it from the warehouse and they just ship it to you, deliver it to you, right? Because you've seen all the reviews already anyway, so there's no reason why these kind of cars can't be 500,000. And if they do the same thing with VinFast should only be around 400,000 in about 5 years, given if they're able to scale and use the cheaper batteries and cheaper technology and stuff like that. So you remember 20 years ago, only rich folks had flat screen TVs and smartphones. Now everybody has flat screen TVs and smartphones. So same thing will happen to these mobility gadgets as we go further down the road. So I expect in 10 years, maybe less and less people will be driving kulong and tricycles on the road, and you'll still have more of these mobility gadgets as the main mode of transportation. So that's basically my review of GAC Aion UT, guys. Please click and subscribe and like my channel. I'll try to give you some more information on other things related to EV or anything that deals with the Philippines political economy. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.